それは、聞きがたい仏教を聞かせていただき、絶対の幸福になるためですよと、お釈迦様はおっしゃっています。
And the reason we were born as a human being is to listen to the teachings of Buddhism in order to attain absolute happiness taught by Shakyamuni Buddha.
その聞きがたい仏法を聞かせていただくことができたのは、この IBA、浄土真宗親鸞会と言いますが、インターナショナル・ブリスト・アカデミーのおかげですね。
So these teachings that is very difficult to listen, now we are able to encounter it and listen to it. All these are due to the existence of IBA, or known as the International Buddhist Academy.
高森先生は、次のようにおっしゃっています。
Takamori Sensei used to say something like this.
考えれば考えるほど、親鸞会は不思議な団体です。
Takamori Sensei said that the more I think that this Shinran-kai, it's a very inconceivable organization.
出世の本願を知っている世界唯一の幸せな集いです。
It is the organization or a gathering of people knowing the ultimate purpose of being born as a human being. And this is the world only organization that knows this purpose.
この親鸞会とご縁を結んだ皆さんもまた、不思議な方々と言わなくてはなりません。
And because of the existence of Shinran-kai, because of these conditions, everyone was able to gather here. This is also unthinkable. It's beyond human imagination.
なぜ今の世に生を受けたのか。
Why do we receive this human form in this life?
どうして一向千年無量事物の誠真実に会えたのか。
What is the reason that I'm now able to encounter the truth of the teachings that teaches us to face to Amida Buddha alone?
不思議ではありませんか。
Don't you think this is unconceivable?
上人、親鸞上人は、遠く祝宴を喜べとおっしゃっております。
And Master Shinran said that this is all we should be happy for the condition that we have since the ancient past.
この世で果たすべきよくよくの大使命が我々にあることを重ねて確認したいと思います。
That is why we have to always remind ourselves, no matter how many times, that we all have a very important mission to be born as a human being in this life.
最初にこの浄土真宗親鸞会、今から60年以上前に作られたんですね。
Jodo Shinshu Shinran-kai was formed more than 60 years ago.
それは不思議な集まり、不思議なグループ、団体なんですね。
It is a very wondrous group.
何が不思議かというと、 この出世の本来をですね、知っているということですね。
Why is it wonderful? The reason is because it is the only organization that teaches us the purpose of life.
たくさんの人がですね、今日までこの地球上で生まれて死んで、また、生まれて死んで、多くの人がですね、世界各地で、繰り返してきたんですね。
So there are countless people that they were born as a human and they die, and this happens everywhere, every corner of this planet.
この地球上でね、どれぐらいの人が生まれてね、どれぐらいの人が亡くなっていったんだろうかと、皆さん考えたことありますか？
Everyone, have you ever thought of how many people were born in this on this planet and how many people have died?
日本だったらね、1日に3000人ぐらい亡くなるんですよね。生まれるのはもっと少ないと思いますけども。
So in Japan, averagely, there is about 3,000 people passed away every day. Of course, the birth rate is actually lower than that amount.
ちょっと今、日本はね、人口がどんどん今減ってるんですね、今ね。
That is why the population in Japan is dwindling.
多分皆さんの国はね、人口が増えてるところもあると思うんですね。
I believe the country, in your respective country, that your population is gradually increasing.
今日までですね、もう本当にどれだけの多くの人が生まれたことか、また亡くなっていたことか。
So up until today, how many people were born and how many people have died?
その中でね、私はこのために人間に生まれてきたんだとね、はっきりと分かって人生を送りですね。そして、その目的を達成して、いや、人間に生まれて本当に良かったと。こういう一生を終えていった人、ね、どれぐらいあるでしょうか？
So among all these people who were born and died in the past, how many of them actually clarify that the purpose of their life, knowing that this is the sole thing that I should accomplish in life, and they are able to accomplish it and truly feel the joy of being able to be born as a human being? How many people were there?
人間に生まれたこの本当の目的を知るということは、これは実は大変難しいんですね、これ。
Actually, it's actually very difficult to truly realize the purpose of life. It's not easy to know or to find such teachings.
自分でね、私何のために生まれてきたのかな、何のために生きてるのかなと考えたときに、どんなことを私たちは思うでしょうか？
When we think of the question, why am I here? Why do I live? Why were I born as a human being? What sort of answer normally people would have in their mind?
それはね、大悲の願船に乗って光明の航海に浮かぶためだと。そんなことわかりますか？
How many people know the answer to that question is to be lifted onto the great ship of compassion, of the great compassion, and the life, and to be afloat on the ocean of brightness? How many people actually know this answer?
そんな答え言う人、考えられる人いませんよね。
It is unthinkable to encounter people who can give us this clear answer.
大体私たちが生まれてきた目的を考えたときに、普通皆さん何だと思います？
Normally, when people think about the purpose of life, what sort of answer would they have in mind?
この、なぜ生きるという本にはね、書いてあることから言えば、2部7章をね、ちょっと開けてみてください。
So, if we take some of the examples from the book You Were Born for a Reason, please turn to part 2, chapter 7.
そうするとね、一部7章ですね。33ページね、チャプター7ってなるんですよ。
Sorry, it's part 1, chapter 7, on page 33.
そこに書いてあることはね、The Thoughts of Goals って書いてあるんですけど、ちょっとそこ読んであげるね。The
はい。
Thoughts of Goals.
So it's on the second paragraph on page 33. I'll read it once. はい、私読みます。
はい。
The sorts of goal people usually have in mind are things like getting accepted into college, mastering a foreign language, winning an athletic tournament, having a successful romantic relationship, getting a steady job, building a house, getting rich, winning a Nobel Prize. But these are in fact mere way stations in life, goals that are only relevant for the time being, and that bear no resemblance to a true life purpose.
ありがとうございます。そこにいろいろ書いてありましたけども、ほとんどの人はこういうようなことが人間に生まれてきた目的であり、そのために生きていると思っているのではないでしょうか。
So there are a few examples written in this chapter. And don't you think that these are normally what people would have in mind to answer the question why we live?
ところが、たとえこれらのことができたとしても、本当の安心とか満足がないわけですよね。
And even if one could actually accomplish all the things that were written in the book, they can't truly have a true peace of mind, nor true satisfaction.
この人間に生まれてきて本当に良かったというこういう喜び、にはならないわけですよね。
That is because they cannot feel the joy of being able to be born as a human being.
ところがこの IBA に出会ってですね、そして本当の人生の目的をお釈迦様、そして親鸞上人から教えていただくことができたんですね。
But by encountering IBA, you are able to learn the teachings from Shakyamuni Buddha and Master Shinran, the answer to the question.
その IBA とご縁があった皆さんもですね、実はこれは本当に不思議な方々だと、皆さんだと、Takamura先生、おっしゃっております。
That is why Takamura Sensei mentioned that it is something very unthinkable for everyone here today to be able to encounter IBA.
いや、私ね、大学のキャンパス歩いてたら先輩から声かけられて、なんか人生の目的聞かないかって言われてね、ちょっと聞いただけですと。こんな感じですよね、最初思うのは。
Most people, they would have the very first time when they encounter these teachings were like, perhaps, say for example, like when they were walking on in the campus of the university, someone else approached him and said, would you like to know about the purpose of life? And then the person might think, yeah, why not? I might just give it a go. Normally, this is where it starts.
私、最初そんな感じでした。
By the way, that was the example of Maeda Sensei.
いや、人生の目的考えたことありますかって言われたので、いや、私も、失礼して申し訳ないけど、無視するわけじゃないですけど、ちょっともう、そのまま帰ろうと思ったんですよね。
Initially,
ないでね。
hi. Initially, when someone else approached Maeda Sensei at the very beginning, asking him if he's interested to know about the purpose of life, even though he doesn't want to be rude, but he was trying to avoid that person without speaking a word and try to leave the place.
最初、その先輩の顔、今でも覚えてますけど、40年前のことですけどね。だけど、もしあの人が声かけてくれなかったら、私もこういう道進むことなかったんだなということを本当に思うんですよね。
But that was about 40 years ago. And if Maeda Sensei think that if he hasn't encountered that person, his senior in Buddhism, and he probably wouldn't have walked on this path today.
人生の目的考えたことありますかと、その言葉のバックにね、こんな一切経があるってこと、お釈迦様の説かれた一切経があるってこと、全然知りませんから、ちょっとなんか学生がちょっと声かけたぐらいに思ってたんですよ。
So, because at the time, Maeda Sensei doesn't know that the question to the purpose of life is actually written. The answer is actually written in all the sutras, the more than 7,000 sutras taught by Shakyamuni Buddha. So initially, he thought that it was just a normal question asked by a random student.
学べば学ぶほどですね、実は深い根拠があって、お釈迦様という方がおられて、世界最高の偉人の方が言われたことだということがだんだん分かってきてですね、いや、これ大変な教えなんだなということが、少しずつ分からせていただいたんですよね。
But as Maeda Sensei learned and listened, the more he learned about the teachings, the more he realized that these teachings is actually a very supreme teachings, and why Shakyamuni Buddha was known as the world's greatest man ever. All these had its reason.
皆さんもね、このオンラインなどでご縁結ばれた方が多いのではないかと思いますね、最近はね。
So lately, many people encounter Buddhism through the internet.
私学生の時はそうインターネットってのありませんでしたから、直接声かけられるしかなかったんですよね。
When Maeda Sensei was a student, at the time, internet wasn't a thing yet. So the only way to share these teachings is through approaching people physically.
で今ならね、このちょっとインターネットなんか見ていたらなんか面白そうなね、なんかなぜ生きるとか何かなと思ってちょっとこうクリックしたとね、申し込んでしまったと。最初そんな感じかもしれません。
But now, because of the advance of internet, most people, when they see this topic of the purpose of life, they might think it is something interesting. All they need to do is just click a button.
でももしね、それが目に留まらなかったらね、今皆さんがこういう出世の本願という人生の目的をですね、聞かせていただくということはなかったかもしれませんね。
And if the words didn't caught your attention, probably you wouldn't be here listening to the teachings that tells us the purpose of life.
もしも皆さんがね、もう50年前に、もう50年早く生まれていたらですね、こういう高村先生という方がこうお話ししておられるこういう時代にね、こういう素晴らしい IBA に会えたかどうかですね。
And if you were born about 50 years ago, whether you're able to encounter Takamori Sensei when Takamori Sensei was very active back in Japan, nor whether you are able to encounter IBA or not, it's a question.
あともし50年後に皆さん生まれていたらね、こういうご縁に会えなかったかもしれませんね。
And also, if you were born 50 years later, then you might not have the opportunity to encounter IBA as well.
なぜちょうど今ね、こういう時代に生を受けたのか。
Why do I born in this age?
そしてね、この今70億の人がいると言われますけども、今地球上に生きていてもね、この一光線の無料事物と言いまして、大きな船に乗らない限り、本当の幸せにはなれませんよと。こういうことをですね、聞かせていただくことが皆さんできたんですけど、どうしてこんなことが起きたのかね。
So there are 7.8 billion people on this planet, but among those people, you are the one of the people who is able to encounter these teachings that teaches if you are not able to be lifted onto the great ship, then you won't be able to attain this everlasting true peace of mind and true satisfaction. Why this would happen to me?
親鸞上人はご自分がですね、そういう大きな船に乗せていただかれて、本当の幸せになられた時ですね、本当にこれはもう、遠い過去から阿弥陀仏とのご縁があったからだと、ご喜びになっているんですね。
And Master Shinran, he also said something like this, which is, if this life I was able to encounter and to attain this true happiness, all these were due to the fact that I had a bond with Amida Buddha since the ancient past.
そのことはね、なぜ生きるという本の中に親鸞上人おっしゃってますから、ちょっと開けていただきたいと思います。
These words were written in the book You Were Born for a Reason as well, so let us have a read.
第8章なんですね。2番8章ですね。
So it's written on the second part, chapter 8.
グリーンブックのね、8章、チャプター8開けてください。
So please turn to chapter 8 on the second part in the book You Were Born for a Reason.
このhow hard ってとこちょっと読んでもらえますか。
はい。So I'll read it once on the part where Master Shinran's word is, how hard it is, even in many lifetimes, to encounter the strong power of Amida's vow. How hard it is, even in myriad eons, to obtain faith that is true and real. Anyone blessed with this faith cannot help but rejoice at the benevolent workings of Amida since the distant past that have brought it into being. Had I remained covered by the net of doubt in this life as well, I should have had to keep wandering, lost through vast eons. How genuine the true words of Amida that embrace us and never forsake us, the absolute doctrine that is surpassingly wonderful. Listen and believe without hesitation or delay.
ありがとうございます。そのトーク、祝宴喜べということをね、86ページに、もう少し詳しく書いてあるんですね。
So here, Master Shinran actually explained that this is the it's something that is in myriad eons.
Then thinking with emotion of how far back in the past Amida's grace extends, he can barely keep back tears of happiness. 書かれてますよね。
はい。
わかりますか？
はい。So on page 86 on the second paragraph, it's actually further explained about the expression of Master Shinran. that's written, then thinking with emotion of how far back in the past Amida's grace extends, he can barely keep back tears of happiness.
どうして親鸞上にね、この人生の目的を知ることができたのか、その苦しみの海を明るく渡す大きな船に乗せていただくことができたのかと。
So why Master Shinran can tell us so firmly, with confidence, about the purpose of life? The reason is because he was being lifted onto the great ship. He was afloat on the ocean of brightness.
その時にですね、then thinking with emotion of how far back in the past Amida's grace extends, he can barely keep back tears of happiness. このように泣いて喜びになってるんですね。
Like this, what is mentioned in the book, Master Shinran fills with the tears of happiness.
この私一人をね、遠い過去から私一人をなんとかその船に乗せようと思って、もう私一人にかかり果ててくだされていたと。かかり果てるということは私一人をですね、なんとか船に乗せようと思って、一生懸命な阿弥陀仏がなってくだされていたということを、それがあったから乗れたんだと言われてるんですね。
So what Master Shinran refer to here is, now I was able to attain this true happiness. This is all thanks to Amida Buddha's hard work since the ancient past, far back in the past, and Amida Buddha's hard work that no matter how, he would definitely want to lift us onto the great ship. Because of the effort and hard work of Amida Buddhas, now Master Shinran said that now I was finally able to be lifted onto the great ship.
皆さんはね、この阿弥陀仏のことを毎日のように聞いておられますよね。阿弥陀仏という仏様のことをね。
Everyone here today, I believe that you have been listening to the word or the expression or the teachings about Amida Buddha quite frequent.
ところがね、この国によってはね、仏教の国でもね、阿弥陀仏っていう名前聞いたことないっていう国もあるんですよ、実はね。
But on this planet, there are many people, including those who were born in a Buddhist country. They never heard of the name Amida Buddha before.
そして、お釈迦様以外にね、阿弥陀仏という仏様はそれは認めないという、こういう国もあるんですよ、実は。
And there are countries that they don't acknowledge other Buddhas apart from Shakyamuni Buddha. There are such countries too.
だから仏様って言ったらもうお釈迦様のことね。もうお釈迦様以外にそんなお釈迦様以上に偉い仏様ないと、こう言われることもあるんですね。
That is why to them, there is only one Buddha, and that is Shakyamuni Buddha. Those others are not considered as Buddha. And to them, the greatest Buddha ever existed is Shakyamuni Buddha.
ところがお釈迦様の説かれたお経を全部読まれた方はですね、阿弥陀仏のことばかりが褒めたたえられていると、このようにわかるんですね。
But if we read through all the sutras taught by Shakyamuni Buddha, we would realize something, that all the sutras were praising one Buddha, and that Buddha is Amida Buddha.
何よりもね、自分がもし大きな船に乗せていただいたら、これはもう阿弥陀仏の目に見えないお力がね、遠い過去から私にかけられていたね。阿弥陀仏が私一人を船に乗せるために、もうかかり果てるってわかりますかね。親が子供をね、育てるために子供にかかり果てるでしょ。
はい。
はい、ちょうどそのようにね、そういうことをはっきり知らされた人から言うと、そのもう阿弥陀仏の存在っていうのはもう何よりも明らかなんですけどね。
So for those who were saved into absolute happiness, they will realize the fact of Amida Buddha's existence, and they will realize that they now able to attain this everlasting happiness is all due to Amida Buddha's power. And this power has been affecting that person since the ancient past. In other words, Amida Buddha has been nurturing us since ancient past, little by little, in order to lift us onto the great ship, in order to save us into absolute happiness. All these will be clarified to that person the moment when he was lifted onto the great ship.
この遠い過去からっていうこの遠いっていうのはね、その20年とか30年とか50年とかそういうことじゃないんですね、これ。遠い過去から私に心をかけてくださっていたっていう遠い過去っていうのは想像できない過去なんですよ。
Plus, this far back in the past does not refer to 100 or 200 or 1,000 years. This far back that refers by Master Shinran, it's a time that is literally countless.
この世でもね、例えば20年、30年、私の幸せをずっと考えてくだされていた方がね、あったということを、もし知らされたらね、いや、本当に申し訳なかったと、こう思いますよね。
Even in this lifetime, if someone else has been working very hard behind our back and make us to attain happiness, when we realize this, we will feel happy and we feel a lot of grateful towards that person.
この大きな船に乗せていただいたとき、絶対の国になったときに、そういうものと桁違いのね、遠い過去から阿弥陀仏という大宇宙最高の仏が私が船に乗れるようにですね、こう導いておられたということを知らされたとき、それもびっくりするんですよね。
And a person, once they were saved by Amida Buddha in this lifetime, the sort of happiness that they experience or they attain, it's something that cannot be compared to the happiness in this world. That is why they will realize one thing, of which is Amida Buddha, since the ancient past, has been guiding myself, has been nurturing me in order to allow me to attain such happiness. All these will be clarified.
そして船に乗せていただいたときですね、この世で果たさなければならない大目的があるということがはっきり知らされるわけですね。
That is why when a person being lifted onto the great ship, they will realize clearly that there is a purpose, there's a very important mission for us to be born as a human being.
それを高森先生は、この世で、この人生で達成しなければならない大きな使命がですね、一人一人にあるということを重ねて確認したいと、このように今から約30年前にこれおっしゃったお言葉ですけどね。
That is why a person who accomplished this, they will realize that all humans has a common goal, has a common purpose, a grand mission that all of us has to accomplish. And because of that, Takamori Sensei reminded us, and he said that repeatedly telling us that we have to keep on reminding ourselves that all of us has such mission. And these words were said by Takamori Sensei about 30 years ago.
これはIBA 作られて30年ぐらいの時にこれおっしゃった言葉ですね。これ今からもう30年以上前ですよ。
So these words were said by Takamori Sensei when he formed IBA, and this was about 30 years ago.
何年経ってもここで言われていることは変わりません。
These words, no matter how many years had passed, they don't change.
でその出世の本願と言われているのは大悲の願船に乗るということであり、生身打仏の宝を一年で受け取るということなんですね。
So the mission to be born as a human being is to be lifted onto the ship, the ship of Amida Buddha's great compassion. In other words, to attain this the treasure of the universe, which is Namo Amida Butsu.
この生身打仏の宝を一年で受け取るということは、生身打仏の宝と一体になるということであると。これ先週読みましたよね。アンロッキングタイムショーね。
So to receive Namamida Butsu, to receive this name means to become one with this Namamida Butsu. And we have read about this in the book Unlocking Tanisho last week.
ちょうどね、この隅に火がついたように、もう離れない。分けることできない。
The relationship is like become one. It's like the relationship between charcoal and fire. Once a charcoal is being lit up, it cannot be separated. Which one is the fire and which one is the charcoal?
それをですね、またこの生身打仏とそう一体になったらどうなるかというとね、それはね、この人生がね、明るく楽しい、心になるんだと。こうも言われてるんですね。
And what will happen to a person once they are being lifted onto the great ship? Their life would change. It is as if like they are being afloat on the vast sea of brightness, and their life would filled only with joy.
その明るい楽しいこの人生っていうのはどういうのかというと、この取得と言いましてね、大宇宙の最高の宝、生身打仏、をいただいてね、そして自分はね、大宇宙一の幸せ者だという、その満足感がね、常に心の底にあるということです。
So what would that person experience in life is that their life would become bright and filled with joy. In other words, because they have attained this supreme joy, this supreme happiness, the supreme treasure in this universe, they will become the most happiest person, the joyous person in this universe. The reason is because they already attained this Namamida Butsu, which is the treasure of the universe.
取得の風が静かに吹いていると言われているのは、大宇宙一の幸せ者というですね、満足な心が常にあるということです。
So Master Shinran referred that to the breezes of supreme joy blow softly. This is because a person he has already attained this everlasting satisfaction.
静かに吹くと言われているのは、これは順境と言いましてね、割と物事が自分の思い通りにいくときのことなんですね。
So the breezes of supreme joy blow softly. Blow softly refers to everything goes smoothly. Nothing goes the other way around. Everything goes just as you want it to be.
ところがですね、この人生は順境ばかりではありませんから、この逆境もありますよね。
Of course, in life, there are ups and downs. It's not always going to be up. There are times where we hit the bottom as well.
まさに今、この世界がですね、この逆境の嵐の中にありますよね。
Just like now, the whole world is hit by a crisis. Everyone is hit by a wind of crisis currently.
コロナとかね、地震とか、津波とかね、事故とかいろいろなこと起きますよね。
So in this world, a lot of things has been happening, like coronavirus, earthquake, tsunami, or car accidents.
この宗家と親鸞書におっしゃって、いろいろな災い、苦しみの波が次から次からやってくると言われてますよね。
And Master Shinran also said that the waves of all woe, these, in other words, all this suffering that comes in waves, one by one after another.
いろいろなね、この苦しみがやってくるということは、これ結果なんですね。結果ですね。
はい。So these sufferings, they comes in waves. They when they hit us, these are all actually results.
結果にはね、必ず原因があるんです。
And whenever there is a result, it means that it has its cause.
習慣のいろいろな苦しみがね、波のごとく私にやってくる。そういう結果が私に現れたということは、それは魔界の種は生えませんから、過去にね、いろいろな悪い種をまいてきたということが知らされるんですね。
So whenever there is a result, it means that it must have its cause because the seeds not planted will not grow. If bad deeds occur in one's life, that means that in the past, that person probably have planted some bad deeds. So it means that we realize that we have actually planted bad deeds in the past.
ですから、習慣の波という苦しみの波がやってきたときには、過去の種まきが、悪い種まきが知らされて、懺悔になるんですね。
So when these waves of all wolf hit us, that means the person will realize, the person who has been lifted onto the great ship will realize that he had planted bad deeds in the past. That is why in his mind the mind of remorse would occur.
そんなね、悪い種しかまいてこなかった私がどうして今ね、こんな大きな船に乗せていただいて、極楽浄土へ極楽浄土へとね、涅槃の世界へ涅槃の世界へと、一日一日、近づく身にしていただいたということを喜ばずにおれないんですね。
So a person when they feel when they have this remorse, they will realize that why people like me who continuously planting bad deeds are able to be lifted onto the great ship, which is a ship that goes to the nirvana. As day goes by, I'm actually closer towards the Pure Land. Why am I able to become such happy person?
ですから、四徳の風、静かに周波の波転ずると言われてるんですけども、最高の幸せのね、風が静かに吹いている。これは殉教の時ですね。
So just like what Master Shinran mentioned here is the breeze of supreme joy blows softly and the waves of all woe are transformed. The breeze of supreme joy blows softly means when a person, everything is going smoothly in life.
そういう殉教の時にはね、恵まれていることに感謝せずにおれないんですね。
And when a person is experiencing a very smooth life, in their mind, they can't help but to feel grateful for everything.
周波の波が、いろいろな苦しみの波がやってきた逆境の時にはね、過去の種まきが知らされて懺悔となり、そんなものがどうして救われたのかと、喜びに変わるんですね。
And when a person hit the bad when crisis hits that person, they will feel remorse, and they will at the same time in their mind they will realize that why am I, a person who planned all sorts of bad deeds, are able to be saved into such happiness. That is why they can't help but to feel joy.
ですから、殉教の時には感謝、逆境の時には懺悔となり、歓喜に変わるんですね。
That is why a person, when they are in smooth times, they will feel grateful. And when they are in the negative times, they will feel remorse and they will feel this grateful and joy at the same time too.
人生にはね、殉教か逆境かどちらかなんですね。
In life, it's either things go smoothly or goes the other way around.
殉教で感謝、逆境で懺悔となり、喜びに転じますから、殉教でも逆境でも、殉教でよし、逆境でよしですね。どちらでももう幸せな世界なんですよ。
So when things go smoothly, the person will feel grateful. And when things go the other way around, they will feel remorse. And this remorse will turn into joy. It will turn into happiness. In other words, whether the person in his life, whether it's up or down, they either will feel joy and happiness.
まさに無限の一道なんですね。
This is exactly the path of no hindrance.
順境でよし、逆境でよし、ね、右を向いても左を向いてもですね、触りになるものがないから。
So whether it's ups or down, it doesn't matter. No matter which direction they are going, whether left or right, it doesn't matter. This is the world of the path of no hindrance.
みんなね、どうか自分に逆境が来ませんように、どうか自分のところに台風が来ませんようにとね、どうか私事故に遭いませんようにと。こういうことをみんな祈ってるんですね、普通は。普通の宗教は。神や仏に祈ってるんですよ。
In religions and beliefs, most people would pray to their gods in hope that there is no suffering that would hit them in life. All they wishes is things could go smoothly in life.
しかし仏教ではですね、蒔いた種は必ず生えてきますからいろんな苦しみがやってくるんですね、人生には。
But life, there is always ups and downs. So whatever we planted, it will definitely becomes a result.
しかしどんな結果が来てもね、大きな船に乗せていただいてますから、一切触りにならない幸せな世界なんですよ。
But no matter what sort of results these are, as long as the seeds are being planted, the results would definitely occur in the person's life.
こういうね、我々が考えている人生の目的というのと、仏教で教えられているものと全く違うんですね。
That is why teachings in other religions and Buddhism is completely different.
こういう世界に出ることができたのは、親鸞聖人ならば、法然上人にお会いできたからだとお喜びになってるんです。
And Master Shinran, he's able to enter into such world of supreme joy. These are all thanks to Master Honen. Because he's able to encounter Master Honen, he was able to enter into such a world of happiness.
この煩悩がなくなって船に乗せていただくんじゃないんですよ。
So a person, when they are being lifted onto the great ship, that doesn't mean that their blind passions are completely disappeared.
煩悩あるままで乗せていただくんですよ。
They are being lifted onto the great ship with these blind passions.
人間生きている限りね、この煩悩が絶対なくならないんですよ。
As long we have this human form, these blind passions will not disappear.
そんなものがどうして幸せになれるのかと、欲もなくならなければ腹立つ心もなくならない。妬みの心もなくならないのに、どうして幸せになれるのかと私たちは思うんですね。
So we would probably think that why a person can attain happiness, because this desire, anger, this grudge, jealousy, they don't go away. So how is it possible for a person to attain such happiness?
ところがね、阿弥陀仏は、すべての人間は煩悩の塊で、煩悩をなくすことができないものだと、遠の昔に見抜いておられるんですね。
But Amida Buddha, since the ancient time, he already see through that all humans are but lumps of blind passions.
だからその煩悩を持ったままで絶対の幸福に助けてやろうと、こういう願いを立てておられるんですよ、阿弥陀仏は。
Because of that, Amida Buddha made a promise that he would save us into true happiness just as we are. In other words, a person who feel nothing but blind passions are able to be saved into true happiness. And this is the promise made by Amida Buddha.
これが朝晩のお勤めの時に拝読しているご和算です。朝鮮の悲願聞きしよりっていうご和算なんですね。
And this is one of the poem written by Master Shinran, which we read every day when doing chanting.
お勤めの本では46ページかと思います。英語の本ではどうでしょうか。
So this poem is actually written in the chanting book, page 46. What about the English version? Is it the same?
同じですか？
Is it in the same page? すいません、わからないです。英語版は持ってないです。
英語版持ってる人。
So can anyone confirm if it's on the same page for those who have the English version of the chanting book? Does anyone have the chanting book with you? This poem, which is after we read Shoshinge.
皆さんで一緒に読みますよ。朝鮮の悲願聞きしより、我らは生じの凡部下は、うろのえ心は変わらねど、心は浄土に遊ぶなり。毎日皆さん読んでるでしょ。
Everyone, you have been reading this part every day, isn't it?
じゃあ皆さん声出せる方、一緒に読んでください。
So for those who is able to speak, let us read this part together.
明日もね、本校の時にこのお勤めを皆さんで一緒にします。必ずお勤めから参加しましょうと。そのように呼びかけられております。大事なことですから。
So tomorrow, during Honko, we will start from chanting. And it's very important. That is why we recommend people to join this event from the chanting.
ではいいですか。朝鮮の悲願聞きしより。皆さん、歌いますか？
Can anyone sing together?
歌ってください。一緒に歌ってください。方が嬉しいんですけど。
If anyone can sing together, my sensei will feel very happy.
我らは生じの凡部下は、うろのえ心は変わらねど、心は浄土に遊ぶなり。ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much.
この朝鮮の悲願っていうのは、この煩悩をなくして助けてやろうという約束ではありません。煩悩を持ったままで大安心、大満足の世界を救い取るという、ちょっと想像できない約束なんですね。世を超えているんですね、これ。
So,
常識を超えているんですよ。
Chosen Higan means the compassion, the vow of great compassion that is something that beyond this world is a promise that saves us, with us having this blind passion just as we are. It's not a promise that saves us by eliminating our blind passions, but it saves us just as we are. This is the promise made by Amida Buddha.
煩悩を持ったままで、必ずいつ死んでもね、涅槃、極楽浄土へ行ける身に生きている時に助けるという約束なんですね。
So this promise made by Amida Buddha is a promise that would save us into the nirvana just as we are. In other words, with us having these blind passions.
阿弥陀仏はね、煩悩を持ったままで、極楽往生間違いない身に助けてくださるそうなと聞いてると、そういうことじゃないですよ、この聞くっていうのは。
すいません、もう一回お願いします。
阿弥陀仏は煩悩を持ったままで、ね、いつ死んでも極楽往生間違いない身に助けてくださる、そうだと聞いてますと。そんな聞き方じゃない、これは。ここで言われているのは。
はい。So what Master Shinran mentioned here is not like perhaps Amida Buddha's primal vow is a promise that would save us with blind passion just as we are. Maybe it's something like that. It's not this case, actually. Master Shinran never used such words like maybe, perhaps in his words.
この長世の悲願を聞くってことは、阿弥陀仏の本が本当だったと知らされたことを聞いたっていうんですね。
So here, after listening to Amida Buddha's primal vow, this listen is a person, he's actually clarified the existence of Amida Buddha's vow. In other words, he was made clearly that the Amida Buddha's primal vow truly exists.
阿弥陀仏の本が本当だったと大悲の願船に乗せていただいたとき、はっきり知らされますから。
The moment when a person is being lifted onto the great ship, he will realize that Amida Buddha's primal vow is indeed true.
その時もう二度ともう迷いの人間ではなくなるんですね。生死の凡夫でなくなるんですね。
So the moment when a person is being lifted onto the great ship, he is no longer ordinary human being. He surpasses the life and death.
じゃあ、欲や怒りや妬みがなくなるのかと私たちは勘違いするんですよね。
But we might misunderstood this as a person probably will have his blind passions like desire or anger disappeared, but that is not the case.
うろの因心は変わらないんだぞと、煩悩、具足の凡夫は変わらないんだよと言われてるんですね。
Master Shinran said here that a person who filth but blind passions, this will never change.
ところが心はもう極楽浄土行って遊んでいるように楽しいんだと、明るく楽しいんだと言われてるんですね。
But the mind is like playing, having fun in the Pure Land. The mind is filled with brightness and joy.
生死の凡夫でなくなる、迷いの人間でなくなる。だけど煩悩がなくなるんじゃないんですね。
So here, not a person that surpasses life and death. This doesn't mean the person's blind passions is completely disappeared. That's not the case.
絶対の幸福ってどういう幸せかということをですね、朝晩このお言葉で教えておられるんですよ。
So what is absolute happiness? Every day when we do chanting, these are actually written there very clearly.
煩悩を持ったままで大安心、大満足という想像できない世界へ救われるということです。
This referring to the sort of happiness that a person can attain, everlasting happiness that a person can attain this true peace of mind and true satisfaction without having their blind passions being eliminated.
こういう幸せな世界をですね、出ることが人生の目的ですから、明日、明後日、真剣にお話を聞かせていただきましょう。
And to attain such happiness, this is the purpose of life. So tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, let us listen to these teachings seriously.
では今日はこれで終わります。
That would be all for today, 合唱。どうもありがとうございました。
なるほど。強いありがとうございます。
合唱。
ありがとうございました。
はい。Thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Sam.
Bye.
Bye.